we're gonna go straight down smack dab in the middle of Kibra.
Thank you. Yeah.
26 candidates in one party alone. 26.
And counting.
And counting, because the nominations were delayed.
Not to forget Chris Darley.
Mixture. And then Jubilee split down the middle with the Mariga or the other guy. Dennis Oliet has jumped in as well.
Oh, yes.
It's a football affair. Gentlemen, what
Is he in?
And Ken Okoth's body is not even cold yet.
Telling you.
Let me tell you. First, let me just speak as a person who's actually a youth and younger than Chris Darley. You cannot, in 2019, say you are running for MP for Kibra, but the bullet you want to take is for Raila, who's not even a voter in Kibra. So who are you running to represent? Seriously,
Go on.
you bow the knee to Raila, and for the people of Kibra, no promise. And then two, let me tell you, Ken Okoth had a track record of delivery. All right? Yes. Now, unless the people of Kibra want very nice reggae concerts,
And good sound.
that's what you want to do.
Good sound.
You know, let me tell you the truth. This idea that somehow your name recognition should get you leadership in this country should stop. It should stop. And that's why I am saying McDonald Mariga, okay, who's the other candidate that I have a problem with, should first demonstrate leadership skills, not just scoring skills. Because sometimes, ask some people in our West African country which voted for a certain footballer they're complaining now.
The guy interviewed that footballer. You can't ban him.
No. That's my friend.
He's your man,
But he's doing a crap job. He's doing a crap job. You know, so let's for me, what will bother me seriously is if Kibra is shortchanged by these big political parties going after big money and not going after people who can deliver. Because let me tell you the problem with this country. This country is becoming a country where if you're like Sonko, you're more likely to succeed than if you're like Jeff Koinange. And that's the problem. If we continue down this road, that now, listen, Oliech cannot manage himself to play for Gor Mahia. That's what the Gor Mahia say on print. Then he wants to run Kibra how?
Exactly.
If a football can run circles around you, how are you going to run a constituency?
And you know, Mark, you hit the nail on the head because it will be a travesty on the legacy of Ken Okoth.
In fact, Jeff, to me, that's the person I'll be, fighting for. Ken Okoth's legacy. And the beauty about, how Ken Okoth lived is that he knew what actually the Kibra people hailed from. And this is where you're reminded of what Albert Einstein once said. The ability of the human mind to think. That is what education is all about. Right? You look at your society, question it, observe it deeply, and then you find the solutions that need or are supposed to be done in a certain environment. And then you know how to approach them, when, how, and you incorporate all the commitments of creating that environment that you want. And that's what Albert Einstein tells us, that's education. That is what Ken Okoth saw.
And then at the same time, Raphael Tuju and his arm of Jubilee are going one way, the DP is going another way. So Jubilee is looking like it's... Gabriel, you don't have to comment here.
No, I can lift my hands and say no comment, but on this one I'll say something.
Yes.
By the way, Jubilee, they need to clean up.
Yeah.
They need to clean up. You saw what happened to Embakasi. They didn't feel a candidate.
Correct.
That they had given.
Well, it depends on which Jubilee.
Yeah, which Jubilee fielded.
Given that they had given ODM a lifeline, and that didn't happen. But one thing, actually, Mark, I'm starting to like is this, and I hope this happens in Kibra, that it is not the person who the majority acclaims. Like in Embakasi, we saw something. I never thought. And many people that I talked to, they never thought Sumra would lose.
Yeah.
Right?
It was unbeatable.
Need I say more? In Uganda, who would have said David Ochieng would just, go get a party there called MDG and come and karangi the way he
But if Baba endorses someone...
Well, David Ochieng was going to win that seat. that's the one place I knew even before the election that he was going to win because of his track record.
Exactly.
If you want a Ken Okoth replica who's loved by the people, who's done things on the ground, it's this guy. But let's be clear about Jubilee.
Yeah.
Jubilee is at an impasse. Okay, because Jubilee wants to act like it is a government in power, and then it wants to act like it's in opposition campaigning for 2022. That's the problem. That's the dyslexia. You see, if you're a Jubilee politician, there is no promise you can give the Kenyan people, because you cannot be sitting in office talking about next election. It does not make sense. Because how do you marry a wife? Then a week after you marry her, you're like, "Skunyenta kuoa." I'll be so romantic. You wait, baby. I'll be so sweet.
Baby.
You've never had a husband like me. And that's what we're doing. Because you are sitting in office.
You're in power.
You're in power. So what are you campaigning for? And that's the dyslexia that is in Jubilee. So Jubilee has a part of it that thinks that it's in opposition and is waiting for its chance to do something. And then there's a Jubilee that's trying to do something. And for as long as they don't get their heads in the game and realize that the best way to run after you've been in power is to run the way Joe Biden is running. You drop Obama's name like it's pancakes everywhere. You know my pal Obama. My granddaughter and his granddaughter went to the same school. That's how it should be. Understand?
Yeah.
But Jubilee politicians want to run. Let me tell you, I can predict for you because the narrative is already there.
Yeah.
The Jubilee politicians that are going to run in 2022 will try and say we were not part of this government. They are looking for a way to disown it, and that's the problem. And you see what's happening now is the reason why certain parts of Jubilee are very concerned about this fight is to try and get as much egg on face on Raila Odinga as possible, which is their prerogative. I have no problem with that, but it serves no the candidates they're fielding. They're not fielding candidates that then you will say will be good for Kibra. It's an ego battle between Raila and his enemies, and the people who will be trampled upon are the people of Kibra. Because if they were talking about that, look, this is someone called ABCD, he's a total unknown, but he's been working on the ground, building this community, working with this community, then I'll have something to discuss. But don't tell me PhD this, football that, reggae concert this. It does not work.
But you know something, you know something, General. When the dust settles,
Yes.
in Kibra,
Yeah.
I'd really want to see probably about 3 or 4 candidates, and then from there, I think we can make very.
Okay, let me ask you guys this, devil's advocate. Why didn't Rosemary run?
You know, by the
Why didn't Baba endorse his daughter? Who wanted to run before when Ken Okoth was still around, remember?
Can I tell you something?
Go on.
And I'm not saying she cannot be a good candidate, but if I was Raila, I don't think I would put her in there, because a loss when Rosemary is running actually would put a serious political.
Okay, let me ask you this then. If whoever Baba endorses, is that the person who's going to win, or will Ruto try to scatter that one?
Let me tell you what, at this point, if I was Baba, I wouldn't endorse anyone. All I could do,
But they're
all
looking
I
for
could
your
do,
blessings, Gabriel. They're looking for your blessings.
Jeff, history, history teaches, I mean, not only teaches, if you're a good historian, if Baba was a good historian, right now I would not throw the dice. You know why? You've lost 2 seats that you needed to win. At this point, politically, it will not be good for him.
But you see, the thing is, the fact that there's an ODM candidate that is a direct endorsement from Baba. You understand?
Yeah.
There's no running away from it. I understand what Gabriel is saying in the sense that you want to take political insurance and political cover, but you're already overexposed on this matter. The person has your party ticket. So whether you like it or not, you were beaten in Nyanza, you were beaten in Embakasi, and you better than just bring your air game. And I can tell you for free that William Ruto is not going to sleep concerning Kibra. So if you want to play safe with this thing, you better know that you're going to lose it. So Baba has to put all his guns in play, put all your machinery in play, come rain, come sunshine, to make sure that this seat goes a certain way.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine if Baba was to lose his backyard?
Like what Martha says,
Would we be able to breathe?
They'll use it. They'll talk about it every
Mark has talked about
you have
political
to-
insurance.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. If I was Baba, actually, I run away from the likes of Chris Darling. If you're talking about having somebody who is quite credible, somebody who you know
To replace Kendall Cobb.
Yes.
And, I mean, and if your heirs are actually seated pretty, here it will be a game of cards. You know, like Mark keeps saying
Yeah.
about the gambler.
Yeah.
Know when to
Good.
fold.
Know when to hold them. Know when to walk
Know
away.
when to walk away.
Know when
If
to-
I was Baba out. This
The thing is, if ODM nominations go well, if they hold. Listen, the only reason Baba has lost in Nyanza, even the guy who won, I forget his name now. But you just mentioned it.
David Ochieng.
David Ochieng. The reason David Ochieng won is because he was frustrated out of ODM.
Yes.
The Achilles heel in Baba's shoe is the fact that ODM nominations seem to always undermine independent thinkers and people who are sort of not directly in the shadow of Baba.
Correct.
Now, if he makes sure that the nomination is transparent and he makes sure that the best candidate wins that nomination, then ODM has a very easy time. Okay, but if he botches that, okay, and Jubilee somehow gets it right, then he's got a run for his money. Because what people don't understand is Kibra is quite cosmopolitan.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you think Kibra is just all Luo. It's not. It's got a lot of Luyas, a lot of Kikuyus, and you need to understand that it's not going to be a one tribe affair.
By the way, you're right when you say that because ANC is going in
Right, yes.
thick and fast over there because
Yes.
it's a huge Luya. Well, let's face it. So you're right.
And don't forget that the votes will be split.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then also don't forget that this is a by-election. It does not attract as
That
many
is true.
voters
That is
as before.
And don't
So,
forget,
yeah.
Ruto has a personal agenda with Raila.
Not only
Yes.
a personal agenda, you have to realize also he's actually 1 foot in the door. He actually took the Lamata seat that went to Nikorio. Nobody ever thought that would ever go to leave alone anybody who was not being endorsed by Baba. So
Showdown, gentlemen.
oh totally.
Huh?
If Mariga was not in Jubilee, I would have told about this guy very quickly. Do it silently, but do it very
But now that he's in Jubilee,
it's going to create an issue. It's going to create an issue. This one I can tell you without fear of contradiction.
all right, gentlemen, switching gears, there's so much to cover. The nut crisis goes nuttier. What is this with these people in Socion? Or has Socion overstayed his welcome?
First of all, can I tell you something? And Jeff, mark the date today.
Oh, go on. September 2nd.
Mark the date. In the next few months, all these guys will be detectives troop along. They'll come back from Kupet back to Nat. This is what they've always played. And by the way, Socion is not the first unionist to be holding a union position with Nat and also being a member of parliament.
Right.
So it did not just happen last week. He's been there for the past 2 years. So why all of a sudden? All right. So
Maybe
to me,
he's
this
opposing
no,
somebody?
no. This is not informed. This is not informed because they want Nat to be better.
It's
It is just a matter of time.
Is there a vendetta?
Something
Is it
will
a
happen.
vendetta?
Jeff, I guarantee you, something will happen in Kupet.
Yeah?
In the same way they are borrowing from Nat, they'll come back.
Jeff,
Pichache.
let me first introduce the topic.
Yes.
Nat is 140 million shillings collected every month.
How much?
140 million.
Oh,
Okay, so
no
that should
wonder.
tell you
Yes.
the stakes of the game. Number two, let's be very clear. There's a guy called Atwoli. Okay? And there's the question of who's gonna inherit. Now, if you close your eyes and you think trade unionist in this country, you remove Atwoli, number two is who? Socion.
Yes.
There's one with bigger crowd.
Look at numbers.
Yes, that's true. Number three,
So,
let's not forget that it is the business of government to frustrate trade unions. Let's not forget that Kupet was created to irritate Nat. It is performing its core mandate, its job description when it frustrates Nat.
Yes.
That's what it was created for. Now, let me ask you a question. You want to replace Socion, but who wins when you replace Socion? Is it the teachers?
No.
no way.
No. You know, and I'm not a fan of Socion. I don't know him from Adam. But the truth is, if every time a trade union loses a vocal champion, you can never replace that person with a boardroom champion.
Correct.
You understand?
Yeah.
Because the character of Sossion is what has carried Nat.
Yes.
Number two, it is very foolish to want to remove your trade unionist from parliament. Because the whole thing you're trying to do is influence budget, influence policy.
Yes.
Now you've created an opportunity where he's one of the policy makers and budget influencers. And then you say that is a mistake. I will
Choke you guys.
and
You will kind of hear your budget.
it's only in this country.
Yes.
It's only in this country where, if you look at demonstrations, the PhD guys, the smart guys are outside parliament, and the people who beat up women and kick people on the streets are inside parliament.
Oh, yes.
So you tell me, where does it work where all the stupid people make the laws and all the clever people complain? That's the problem with this country.
Now, Professor Hammond, and see how we arrive of this guy is coming back. The minute they realize, by the way, this guy is in Bunge. This guy is going to actually have a direct hand in affecting our budget. When it comes to policy,
It's what Bichaja says. Look,
Yeah.
we've got a musician, Jaguar.
Yes.
We've got a comedian, KJ.
We've got a prison prefect.
Admitted prison prefect, right? And now we're gonna get we've got Babu. That's right.
Yeah.
Man, this parliament, man, you can't make this stuff up.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. You see, the biggest problem that we are going to face in 2022, if we are not careful, is that this country will continue to vote for the worst of us because they're the only ones who can run for politics. If I asked you, Prof,
Yes.
okay, to campaign for MCA, do you know how?
I have no idea.
Because you do not have the bad manners needed.
I've not invested bad manners.
But it's like being a gentleman and hitting on the lady who's used to bad boys. It doesn't work.
but you see, Mark, this is what I've always said.
Yes.
Our inability to choose the best in the house actually is self-punishing.
But we get
It's
what we
actually
deserve. We get what we deserve.
Exactly, Jeff. That's self-defeatist. You remember when Barack Obama and this other, not McCain, and
The first time.
no, the second time Barack Obama was running with what was his name?
The polygamist.
Not Well, if you look at both candidates, they were generally okay candidates. If the president would have gone to any of them, all right, America would still have been safe, so to speak. All right. This just shows you there is an element of good selection. Ours is very different. That we can leave somebody who we know is mature, has content, and has value, and we go for the raggediest of them all, and then 4 months later we cry foul. So it is our inability to choose. And Jeff, by the way, we do not outsource leaders. All right, we get them from our crew, and that's why we looked and smiled when somebody like Muguna was being actually put. I'm not going, but he ended
I'm
up
not
boarding.
boarding.
I'm not boarding, but he ended up boarding.
Yeah.
Right. But if you look at somebody like that, you're like, what would we gonna have done different for this?
By the way,
He may not have been probably overall the best, but he was better.
and I think he's more popular now with what he followed through. I mean, with all that leaving and everything. Bichaja, I don't know what you think, but if Miguna was to come back today,
Miguna is a Kantakara's fellow. And politics, you've got to know which toes to step on and which not to step on. Now, the problem with Buguna is that he's constantly a bull in a china shop. You know, so the bull is nice, but in a china shop, every time it moves, it makes something. And that's the biggest problem. But let's look at the politicians we hate. Martha Karua. Now, why do we hate her? Oh, she will rule over us.
Yes.
You know, she's a very
too
serious
forthwith.
woman. Yeah, she's
She
too.
knows-
She's
yeah,
too much.
no,
Yeah.
no.
So
We want
we
want some leniency.
Yes.
Mtu atatuelewa.
Exactly.
Yes.
Atatukalia. Itakuwa wangu wa makeri tena.
hapana.
Right.
No.
That's the person we dislike.
Yes.
All right. When you look at Paul Mwite, right, can't get 2 votes. Right. Why? Because the problem with this country is that we love when the campaign slogan is Stephen. Tialala means nothing to you, but you're very happy. When they tell you Wembe ni ule ule,
Yes.
you're very happy.
Tano
Wake up
tena.
6 a.m. in the morning. You know, to go vote for air. Because when someone comes and articulates issues to you,
We don't listen.
kwanza we have intellectual hate in this country. Mtu wa kizungu mengi.
Yeah.
We don't like that. Yes, we don't want people who can explain issues.
No.
So when you go to a campaign, I don't even know how to campaign in this country because me, how am I dancing for you to do what?
You have to.
How is my interview to you to dance? Am I interviewing to be parliament dancer? I don't understand. How do our politicians dance for people?
On stage,
Yes.
after making them wait for 5 hours.
Have you seen the videos making around
Doesn't make sense.
of our good, gracious governor? Who was
Yes.
in Dubai. Have you seen
That's-
that? In Dubai. Yeah, on the road, driving on very slicky roads on Sheikh Zayed.
Oh no, in Dubai.
Yeah, he did a video
Driving.
yesterday. Yeah, driving himself on Sheikh Zayed. And he's asking, man, when will Kenya be, Nairobi be like this? And I'm like, guy, pick the phone call and call the mayor.
When you come and do this.
And I was actually shocked.
He calls
I was
the mayor
actually
of what? Dubai?
No, I was like, if I was advising,
Oh,
call the mayor of Dubai. And I'm like, if you've read the history of Dubai, they had some of the best and most educated city planners in the Middle East.
And that's 40 years ago, right?
Yes.
It was a desert.
It was
with
a
bedroom
fishing
tents.
village. Yes.
So the question he was asking, how will we make? I was like, my friend, you just
And
answered
he's driving
yourself.
down the street.
Yes.
So, but you see that-
Gin and juice.
But
Yeah.
that's the problem because here's the issue. My issue is not that he posted the video. My issue is how many Nairobians liked it
Exactly.
and congratulated him.
Oh, yes. We are so happy.
You're right.
By the way, congratulating him for doing stuff off duty. Did you see anywhere in the constitution and the governor shall frequently drive in Dubai?
No.
Or if you are in Mombasa, the governor shall be seen with Parisino. And you're busy liking. Why are you liking?
And just
And then your governor is asking you, well, so why did we vote for you? And then this is the same governor
Yes.
who has refused to attend the Nairobi regeneration thing. Okay, he's the same governor who decided to frustrate the plans of rapid bus transportation. Right? So how, this is the problem with this country. Listen, how in your chama do you sit, the 5 of us?
Yes.
We are going to a chama and we ask Wolipata grade gani? D.
Yes.
Wolipata A. Wolipata B.
Jamaa D.
Milkapata B. Some Jamaa D. You please lead us.
Yes. When you kill God.
We need a treasure. We need a treasure. Who's been in prison for stealing? So can we give you a job
You know, Mark, we were making
as a treasurer?
We were making fun. We were making fun of our good governor from Mombasa with Paris Hilton, and I hope we do not get accused something tape. You know, Paris Hilton and so many things. I hope that doesn't happen. But
Are you trying to say that he might have taken her for one night in Paris?
let me tell you something.
The city.
Do you see the kind of red carpet we give to some of those governors here? Somebody, I highly doubt if there's anybody who recognized them in the streets of Hollywood.
No way. Who?
Zero. You know why? But if Michael Bloomberg was to land in Nairobi today, you will know somebody serious has landed. You know why? There's something called universal responsibility. When you hear Michael Bloomberg, there's nothing you see, Jeff. You see the New York Stock Exchange. That is somebody who has global relevance. Our guys, the carpet they roll out there, nobody will even know you, even if you spend a whole day at a bus stop in Hollywood.
Then they
But
won't care.
come back home, the minute you land, the red carpet, the dancers sijui akina nani akina Alikiba sijui
Yes.
because we give you our value not knowing we are all of us in the land of the blind. And this is a one-eyed
Gentlemen, before we wind up, I'm sure you guys were watching Citizen Television last night, Sunday Live.
Yes.
You watched Sunday Live? The Masai Mara heist.
With one eye, I was like this.
God.
Hey, by the way, Jeff, even if I forgot to ask you, where when you Google,
No.
but
Unbelievable. Masai Mara University in Narok, the vice chancellor is accused of fleecing that institution in 2 years, close to 200 million shillings.
Oh.
In 2 years. And like literally writing checks, the driver goes and cashes them, boom. Every week it got up to 4 million a week. That's one tiny public institution.
Yes.
What about the rest?
But Jeff, you know, I said on this show that Egerton University, my alma mater, built a gate for 60 million shillings.
Is it made of gold?
No. 60 million shillings.
A gate.
A gate. This is a university that the last time it published a proper research paper, Jesus was on the cross.
What?
60 million shillings on record.
That's just one.
Yes.
That's the gate.
You see, this is a problem of these centers of thinking. I once had a privilege of giving them a motivational talk. That time they're waiting for the government to give them a curriculum. I asked them, in which country are the thinkers waiting for the politicians for a curriculum? Think about it. Professor
God, J.
of education,
Yes.
waiting for a politician to tell you how to educate.
To give you a policy paper.
So what do we have the universities for?
Oh, yeah, what are you doing there?
What
is your role?
Who is the thought leader? In the United States, the government goes to universities to ask them, what should we do? In Kenya, universities go to say, what can we think?
And how much should we be paid to think this way?
Oh,
Jeff, that thing was a shocker. And let it appear to many that just take the name Masai Mara and put it in any other public university, you'll get the same results.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My worry.
I think we're scratching the surface.
Oh, totally.
Tip of the iceberg.
Oh, totally. My worry, you still had. In fact, this, when you guys were airing it, my question was, before you even get to the VC, can these auditors be somewhere in committee? Because these are the guys. I mean, those people, they had their books you saw. Their books were okay.
Yes.
So what does that tell you? And you know, when I was doing the accountability class, and we were actually doing live, we would go and do live research. And the one that we did was for Arthur Anderson. Arthur Anderson, the church by 2001, had about 85,000 employees. Arthur Anderson. After the fall of Enron in 2007, only 200 employees were left. Arthur Anderson was back then among the big 5 accounting and auditing firms in the US, with PwC, and you know, we can
All the big boys,
all the big boys, among the 5. Only one thing telling lies to SEC and that company. And when people are asking, I mean, what happens to the employees? They didn't care what happened. To them, it was the accountability. The minute you play with the Stocks and Exchange Commission, you're done. In fact, their license was pulled in one day. Voop, taken back.
By the way, that was
Right?
fantastic reporting by Wahiga Maura and Asha Moilu and the
amazing.
entire team. Really, really good investigative piece. And I hope, you know, DCI or the, you know, relevant authorities act on it because, like I said, it's the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, totally. Totally. And when Mark, you know, when Mark is talking about research,
Yeah.
you know,
Nobody does research anymore.
my friend just traveled. I was telling somebody, I went to a place in Kunming. This is an amazing university, a molecular university. Out of the 350 people, only 350, 305 were deep core researchers. The rest were support staff. Just go JQuad.
Guys, as we
Or
wind
any
up,
other.
as we wind up,
You'll find, Jeff,
4,000
employees, but only 3.
How many patents does MIT
There you go.
hold?
Oh my goodness.
How many have they applied for this year alone? Okay. How many lecturers in our universities know what a patent is?
Brother.
Let alone spell it. Spell patent. Yes. All right, guys, real quick as we wind up. Guys, it boggles my mind. A national carrier like Kenya Airways, where, you know, flies all the way to JFK from JKIA and around the world, and it's the, you know, the pride of Africa.
Telling you.
Losing money, bleeding money, hemorrhaging money.
Flying in debt.
8.5 B in debt in 6 months. Bichachi.
Let's bring it down to Matatu level.
Yes.
You enter a matatu, it is always full.
Yes.
It charges higher than the other matatus.
Yeah.
Then the owner declares a loss.
Well, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Because
Well said.
Now let me explain how.
Yes.
Again, back to matatu.
Yes.
When you go to the petrol station, fuel is being sold at 90 bob, you buy at 200. Does KQ do that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yes.
Does KQ charge? All right? Is it charged when the matatu is parked? Yes, it is. Because our leasing agreements say that whether the plane is flying or not, we pay the people we leased from.
Yes.
Okay? Two, you get a loan. When everyone is paying back loan at 10%, you are paying whatever million percent you want. Okay? KQ has done everything you do wrong in the transport business. Let me tell you, Jeff, if you gave my son, who's 7 years old, a chance to run KQ, he'll turn it around. Because the mistakes they are making are fool's mistakes. Who decides that the future of oil is so bad that the price is going to be 30-40 shillings above?
Right.
That's crazy. When you know the United States is fracking itself to death, every person is stepping up production, every country is discovering oil, including Kenya itself.
including
Then
us.
you say the future is that this commodity that is increasing is going to be more expensive. Are you mad? Basic economics, supply and demand. So the supply has increased, the price will also increase. Are you mad?
If you ask me, I think these were wrong decisions. Like Mark is saying, if you look at their long-term projections, they were totally a waste. And remember, KQ had a very good program called Project Mawingu. What happened to it?
Yeah,
they had started very well, and they were saying we are going to actually modernize this fleet. The only people who took that literally and ran away with it was Ethiopian Airlines.
Oh, Ethiopian Airlines has done fantastic work. That's government owned, 100%.
No, but because they know the price of fuel. We don't.
We have no idea.
And they know how to lease a plane. You lease per mile in the air.
And it's not per individual, through an individual's company.
Yeah, exactly. So these were wrong decisions.
What a mess.
Wrong decisions made by the right people.
But let me ask you a question. Have you seen our airport? Do you see how many planes are there at JKIA? That should tell you how many travelers we have. You understand? So how do you make a loss in a place where if you close your eyes and just put your hand in, you'll get passengers? The issue is that the management that has been there at KQ since YK92, I'll not mention names,
Thank you.
has been a system where you go in there to create a deal for you so that when you retire, you're still siphoning money. That is where the real issue is.
In the meantime, Kigali is building a new international airport. We laugh at them.
Oh yes.
I've seen the
arena?
the drawings.
My goodness.
But Jeff, you know
there's something that guy is doing. And I know I've heard people complaining, that is a
dictator,
tiny
all
country.
this,
It's a
all
tiny
that.
country.
Watch.
Guys.
Watch.
Let me tell you, what is happening? Those guys just did a serious stadium in less than 6 months.
Arena.
An
The
arena.
arena. The NBA Africa will be played there.
But let me tell you something, Jeff. When we say it is tiny, let's remember Luxembourg is very tiny.
Yes.
It is very tiny.
Yes.
You understand?
Very tiny.
But
we're joking. This
Yes.
one will look like a warehouse.
now, my question,
friend.
the question I
Wilson.
always have for people who say that Kagame is overrated, my question is very simple. How is he able to do what he's doing with a budget less than Safaricom?
By the way,
That is the only question I have.
The budget of all of Rwanda.
Listen, the GDP of Rwanda is less than a tenth of Kenya's. So while he's doing those magical things, you go find a clean city, you go find all of those things. He's doing that with the fraction of resources that Kenya has. So that should tell you the amount of money and nonsense we allow. Listen, the other day I was listening to someone explain. Remember the KRA boss said that he can raise 250 billion shillings extra from what was projected. Listen, our total debt is like 6 trillion.
Yeah.
If you're able to raise 250 billion per year, you would wipe out that debt faster than anticipated. Of course. Yes, that should tell you our capacity. Kenya, when it does its budget, it is the budget of Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda put together to get to Kenya. But what we produce in Kenya is a tenth of what Kagame is doing.
Right.
And that should tell you how we are anointedly stupid.
Oh, yes. Blessedly.
Gentlemen, I have to read a couple of tweets before I let you go. Chief Daniel Musioka says, regarding Kibra, Mariga will tell Kibra residents, Karibu Betin. Chris Darling will tell them, Kidole Moja. And that's what we are. We get what we deserve.
Yeah.
We'll be saying, Mablam.
Oh, wait, can I say that about the song?
Go
Let me
on.
tell you, banning that song is like telling your girlfriend to measure morning after pills after delivery.
Ezekiel, where are you?
Because what's that?
Mark Bichachi, you guys are great, man. You guys let's do this more often. Let's wake up a nation, man. Come on in, Baya. Top of the hour. My goodness, this has been smoking. Hello, September.